Good afternoon, everybody. It is Monday, September the 16th. Let's see, I want to say I leave this coming weekend will mark 2 weeks before I leave for South Africa. That's just an update. Melissa and Melissa, we were talking online. She has been on a trip to El Paso, Texas, where her family lives, and we were talking just about some training things. She trained a little bit while she was gone, and one of the things that she was asking me about, I'm at that point in the training where I am really tired, and I've pulled way back on volume, although the weights are pretty heavy. This morning I did 3 sets of 3 in the bench raw, 170 kilos, and I did some assistance type things to warm up, but I didn't do anything else. And granted, you guys understand my schedule and all that, but I just don't seem to have any gas in the tank for much else. And there's a couple little things that I'm not worried, but they're sore. They're, again, I'm just at that point where I'm beat up and I'm trying to pay attention. It's super hot here. I want to say for the last, basically all of August and still into September, we're daily at 95 degrees and above. That's not heat index, that's the actual, temperature. So, and in Middle Tennessee, middle of September, it's beginning to cool off as it's football weather, and it is brutal. And I'm as big as I've been in several years, just putting on size for the strongman and the powerlifting for the equip powerlifting, and all that I'm telling you for is, all of that counts on your ability to recover and recoup and that sort of thing. But there also becomes a mental factor, the mental fatigue, the grind, the pressure. And I'll be honest, there's times where I think about it. I was online with Chris Elmore, and I have like a converter for power. When Jennifer and I went to Belarus, I bought this big giant brick thing that would plug into the wall. You can basically use it just about anywhere, but in South Africa, you have to have something that will convert voltage from 230 to 120. I don't know if that will do it. It doesn't appear so. So Chris and I were kind of like scratching our heads trying to make sure. There are some things, like some people's laptops and stuff will convert, and I just would prefer not to, take that risk. We figured out something and we bought it. And so it's just, that's one of those things leading up into this. I still don't have a singlet from Titan. And I talked to him today. I contacted Titan, and they have a rush on it. I think my pants and my jacket, my sweatsuit, that is my uniform, I got a notification today that it was supposed to be here tomorrow. So, there's just some of these things that it always seems to come down to the wire. And if I were just driving somewhere a few hours away, it wouldn't be such a big deal, but I fly from here to Atlanta. I think I have an hour and a half layover, and then I'm on a plane for 15 hours to get to South Africa, and then there's a bus trip, I don't remember, 30 minutes, 40 minutes. So it's those are the things that to me are unsettling. So the question is, and again, while you've got all that information, is how do you not let the mental aspect of that, the worry and the stress and the anxiety get to you? And for me, now you got to remember, I've got a little bit of experience doing this. I will tell you that there's never a time that I don't get nervous. There are times where what will happen is, especially once I get into the flow of the meet, then that kind of just takes over, especially after the first squat. But the days leading up to it. And it's just one of those things you learn. Like, let me give you some ideas. One of the best things I've ever done is use visualization. And you're going to hear people talk about that. You're going to think it's just, mumbo jumbo or hocus pocus. But I'm telling you, especially in this day and age, we all have the ability to easily videotape our lifting and our training, and anything that seems to need some adjustment, or somebody to take a look at, to make correction. And so you constantly have this visual, of what you need, and that's one of the reasons why I make those coach's eye videos, because hopefully it gives you a visual, and a lot of times that will help execution, when it comes down to doing the lift. And I usually every night before I go to sleep, just run the lifts through my head, like, what's it going to be like when I squat enough to be in the lead, to bench enough to be in the lead, and to deadlift enough for the win, and I know what it's like to get on the podium, and feel that, stepping up on that podium and getting a gold medal, and I'm constantly focusing on that. I mean, at the end of the day, I don't want it to sound conceited, because at the end of the day, you have to show up, you have to make the trip, you have to show up, and you have to execute the game plan and bring it come game day. And as we've all seen, in any kind of sport, anything can happen. And so, I try to stay composed and not get too wound up and not get too excited. But based on the facts that I have, I do what I'm supposed to do, and I should be able to place, where I think I should based on those numbers that I have. And that was the way it was at IPF Bench Worlds. I visualized what I was going to do, what it would feel like, and I knew I had probably the best shot I had, unless somebody had trouble, was bronze. And that's exactly what happened. And so I firmly believe in visualization. And what it does for me in this case is not only is it positive reinforcement to my form and my training and all that, but it helps ease my mind, because it is stressful. It's like, oh God, 15 hours. Well, I've learned that's probably about 6 movies on the TV that will be in front of me. And I don't get to watch that much TV, so some of it's actually enjoyable. I get lost in the movie, and so it's just part of it. It's part of what makes these world meets interesting. It's what's the challenge. It's you're flying, to some place, the other side of the planet. I think the closest world meet we have flown to so far was Calgary, and that didn't seem so bad. It was still far, but I mean, it's nothing like going to Japan or Belarus or South Africa. So those are things that I do. I'm always looking at my game plan, always reinforcing what I got to do, and those are the things that I use that keep me from getting too wound up. Now, for you guys that are just starting out, I still think that visualization is going to be a great tool for you, because it reinforces the things that you're doing well and reinforces what you need to do to correct things or fix things to do them well, included. And again, it's that distraction that with the positive reinforcement that it keeps you from getting too nervous, and then when the nerves come game day, you learn how to channel that. Like, all right, here are the nerves, because here, no matter what happens, once you step on that platform, you have a choice to make. Are you going to be afraid, or no matter what, being afraid is not going to stop you from, your best effort. And that is something that I worked on constantly throughout my career. I knew that if I wanted to squat 1,000 pounds, that I would have to get over being nervous. I'd have to get over, what the weight was going to look like, or people's response to it, because I was going to do it, and I wasn't going to be denied. I was going to squat 1,000 pounds, and that was the end of it. And that's a practice, and that's something that you reinforce over time. And how you do that in the beginning is just daily is taking some time, like when you're going to sleep, or, you know, a lot of us are really busy, and I am, you know, but you generally have 4 or 5 minutes where you can kind of sit. You don't have to necessarily meditate, but you kind of just chill out. You've got videos of your lifts, you study, and it's one of those things that you can use that time to really create a positive mindset and positive feedback, you know, that will help you the next day when you go to train. So hopefully this is something that helps you, and again, you know, hopefully this will generate some discussion. I'd love to hear, you know, there's a lot of you that compete and have competed more than once, and you'll you know, after 3 or 4 times you start developing, you know, kind of a schedule and kind of a way of doing things. So I'd be interested to see, you know, what you think and what you do, you know, to kind of close that mechanism where you can focus in your training and then the, you know, game day, the day of the meet. So anyway, hope you enjoyed it, and I appreciate your listening. Have a good day.